Ever wonder what it's like when death comes knocking? I'm not asking to scare you, I'm asking because I've been there, dead as a doornail. On November 14th, 2024, my heart stopped for 1 minute and 23 seconds on I-94, rain pounding, trucks roaring. I met God, not some flashy heaven from the books, but a raw truth that shook me to my core. He said, "Frank, what the hell you living for?" I cussed him out, but he showed me my life, the wars, the hell we humans make. I came back, and now I'm telling you not to brag, but to make you think. If that day hits you, are you ready? Read on, because the answer might just turn your life upside down, like it did mine. On November 14th, 2024, I died. Not some pretty Hollywood death with glowing white lights or angels waving. No damn romance like that. I'm Frank Sullivan, 58 years old, a long-haul trucker from the outskirts of Detroit, Michigan, and I died, right there on I-94, smack in the middle of a freezing November rain and blaring horns tearing through the gray sky. My heart stopped for 1 minute and 23 seconds or so, the damn doctor told me later. But before I came back, I met God. Not some white-bearded old man on a golden throne like those church paintings my mom used to hang, but something closer, realer, that scared me so bad I damn near pissed myself. He asked me, voice deep like the rumble of the Kenworth T800 I'd driven for 30 years, "Frank, what the hell you living this shitty life for?" I cussed him out, told him if he was real, why'd he let me rot like a miserable bastard for 58 years? No wife, no kids, just a beat-up truck and a pile of beer cans in the trash. But then he showed me everything from when I was a snot-nosed kid running around East Detroit, to the days I drove my rig cursing the world, to the goddamn war tearing Ukraine apart right now. I was wrong, dead wrong, and I'm telling it, here, not to show off or play holy, but so you reading this? Get that day, the day I died, changed it all. I ain't the type to sit around spinning yarns, and I sure as hell ain't the kind to tote a Bible to church every Sunday, or kneel muttering prayers before bed. Before that day, all I knew was driving, chugging Budweiser till I was plastered, then sprawling on the ratty armchair in my run-down house in Warren, Michigan, cussing out the TV whenever it blared news about wars, dumbass politicians, or the freezing weather that made my back ache like someone was jabbing needles into my spine. God. To me, he was bullshit for old ladies like my mom, something I never bought into, until he stood right in front of me. No explanation, no debate, just truth that shut me up cold. I'm writing this for folks like you, people who grew up in church, reading Psalm 23 every night before lights out, believing in the afterlife, karma, and the final judgment in Revelation. If you've ever wondered if God's real or what the hell even is, keep reading. You might see yourself in my messed up story, and maybe, just maybe, find the answer you've been chasing your whole damn life. It was a cold Friday drizzle, falling steady since dawn, the kind of rain that fogs up your windshield no matter how hard the wipers slap. I was driving my Kenworth T800 for Great Lakes Transport, hauling a load of steel coils from Detroit to Chicago. Just another run like the hundreds I'd done over 30 years. I'd left home at 5 a.m., my little rented shack in Warren, Michigan, where I'd lived alone since Linda walked out in 2001. My place ain't worth bragging about. Yellowed walls stained from the smokes I lit every night, a tin roof that leaked in heavy rain, smudged windows looking out on a potholed road to I-696. I threw on my beat-up brown Carhartt jacket, frayed at the sleeves, slapped on my faded Detroit Tigers cap, and climbed into the cab, where the stink of diesel and Camel cigs clung to every corner. I flipped on the AM radio, catching some guy on WJR droning about the weather. Temps dropping to 35 degrees today, rain all day, watch for slick roads. I muttered under my breath, "No shit, genius, tell me something I don't know." I rolled. onto I-94 westbound, a long, straight stretch slicing through bare winter cornfields and grimy industrial parks belching smoke. The road was slick, but I didn't give a damn. I'd driven worse, from blizzards in upper Michigan to hailstorms in Ohio. I had a Camel dangling from my lip, lit it with the Zippo my old man left me, white smoke curling around the cab, mixing with the stale coffee I'd poured from a thermos. I switched the radio to news, half listening about Ukraine, another bombing in Kyiv, mothers wailing for dead kids, soldiers burned alive in tanks. I growled, "This goddamn world, nothing but war and death, and nobody does a damn thing." I didn't care much. War was some far-off mess, and all I worried about was delivering on time so the boss at Great Lakes wouldn't dock my pay. Around 10 a.m., just past the I-275 interchange, shit hit the fan. The rain picked up, pouring down like a gray curtain, wipers squeaking uselessly against the flood. I floored it, trying to pass a slowpoke SUV ahead, a black Ford Explorer, taillights blinking in the fog. I snarled, "Move it, asshole!" But then from the left lane, a logging truck barreled in, a dumbass driver losing it on the wet road. I saw it swerve, logs teetering on the flatbed, and slammed the brakes. The Kenworth's tires screeched, cab shaking like hell, but it was too late. The logger smashed into my right side, metal crunching like a goddamn explosion, windshield shattering, glass spraying the cab like hail. My rig spun out of control, then slammed into the concrete median. My head smashed the steering wheel, blood gushing from my forehead into my eyes, hot and sticky. My chest lit up, pain like a knife twisting in my heart, every breath a shredding agony. I heard horns blaring somewhere, voices yelling faint in the distance, but it all faded fast. My hands dropped from the wheel, limp on my lap, trembling. I croaked, "Son of a bitch, I'm done." Then darkness hit. Not slow like in the movies, but fast, like someone flipped the switch. My heart stopped, my breathing quit, and I was dead. Or so I thought, until I opened my eyes and saw him. I don't know how long I was in the darkness. Maybe seconds, maybe a lifetime. But when I opened my eyes, there wasn't some dazzling white light or pearly gates like the old church ladies used to ramble about after Mass. None of that crap. Hell, nothing pretty to dream about. I stood in a thick, heavy darkness, not pitch black, but like the factory smoke from Chrysler back when my dad was alive, clinging around me, suffocating yet oddly not scary. I smelled something familiar. Not the diesel or camel smoke from my rig, but a faint whiff of burning wood, like the campfires I'd built with my brother Tommy in the backyard as kids. I looked down. No torn Carhartt jacket, no mud-caked boots from Warren's roads, just me, bare but not cold, like my body wasn't the one I'd known anymore. I reached up to touch my face. No blood from smashing my head on the steering wheel, no chest pain from when that logging truck plowed into me. I stood there in the dark, hearing my heartbeat, not the pounding when I was pissed or drunk, but slow, steady, like the old wall clock ticking in my mom's house. I muttered, "Son of a bitch, where am I? Am I dead?" No answer, just a faint wind whistling somewhere, like I-94 at midnight with no one around. I stepped forward, barefoot on something that wasn't a floor. Not hard, not soft, just an empty feeling holding me up. I spun around. Nothing but darkness, no walls, no sky, no road. Just me and this weird sense someone was watching. Then I heard a voice, not echoing from far off, but right in my head, clear as the AM radio cranked up in my cab. "Frank Sullivan," it called, deep and strong, like my Uncle Pat yelling when I spilled oil in his garage at 16, but bigger, like it came from my bones. I jumped, spun around, heart racing, but saw no one, just darkness, and that voice. "Who's there?" "Don't." "Screw with me, damn it," I shouted, voice hoarse from fear and anger, fist clenched though I had no one to hit. The voice came again. You don't need to fight me, Frank. I know who you are from the day you were born to the day you died on that highway. I froze, sweat beading though it wasn't hot. A guy who'd never believed in God now hearing this voice. I knew it was him. No explanation needed, no face required. I felt him in every breath, every heartbeat, every drop of sweat rolling down my neck. I dropped to my knees, not out of reverence, but because my legs shook too hard to stand. God? That really you? Where's the light? The heaven stuff? I thought dying meant going up or down, I said, voice cracking, half doubting, half freaked. He answered, You want light, Frank? You lived 58 years. When did you ever look for light to expect it now? I choked. Damn it, he was right. I'd never prayed, never stepped foot in a church since Linda left, never thought beyond driving, drinking, and cussing out life. I roared, If you're real, why'd you ditch me? Why let me live like a miserable bastard? No home, no wife, no kids, just a damn truck and debts. Where were you when my dad died, when my mom cried, when Linda walked out? I yelled, till my throat burned, tears streaming without me noticing. Me, Frank Sullivan, who hadn't cried since the day my dad dropped dead on the factory floor. The darkness hummed, not a quake but a soft rumble, like my truck's engine firing up each morning. He said, I didn't ditch you, Frank. You ditched yourself. I was there, always, everywhere. But you didn't look. I opened my mouth to cuss again, but then he did something. The darkness blurred and my life unfolded before me. Not like a TV movie, but a slow-motion reel. So real I smelled it, heard it, felt every second. I saw myself, a 5-year-old kid on the stoop in East Detroit, clutching a beat-up rubber basketball, watching my dad come home, denim jacket, oil-stained, grinning. Get good at ball, Frankie, don't end up welding like me. I saw my mom in the kitchen, slicing potatoes on the oak table, humming Amazing Grace in a shaky voice, yellow lamplight glinting off her early gray hair. I saw me at 12 in St. Jude's funeral parlor, staring at my dad in the coffin, face pale, my mom hugging me, sobbing, God'll take care of your dad, Frankie. I wanted to scream, take care of jack shit. He's dead. But I didn't, just stood there, fists balled, starting to hate this world. Then I saw me at 16, dropping out in Uncle Pat's garage, hands greasy, Aerosmith blaring, dreaming of owning a rig, driving across America, escaping that shitty neighborhood. I saw me at 22, marrying Linda at St. Anne's, her in a plain white dress, smiling, me thinking, someone to cook's good enough, loves for suckers. I saw my early trucking days, Detroit-Chicago runs, sipping black coffee at I-94 rest stops, staring at stars, thinking, maybe I'll do something big. But then I saw Linda leave, 2001, suitcase in hand, voice cold. Frank, you're not living, you're just here. I saw me after, drunk, cussing, smashing beer bottles, passing out in the armchair day after day, till the day I died on the highway. I cried, not loud sobs, but tears just fell, hot on my face. Why show me this? To see what a screw-up I am? I know I'm a bastard, I yelled, pounding the invisible ground. He said, no, Frank, to show you had dreams, chances, me there. You chose to curse life instead of live it. I looked up into the dark, asked, so what's my point? Drive, drink, die? That's my mission? His voice deepened. Everyone's got a mission, Frank. You don't see it doesn't mean it ain't there. The space shifted. No more my life, but something else, realer, rawer. I saw Ukraine, not on TV, but like I was there. Kyiv, black smoke rising from rubble, bombs shaking the air, the stench of gunpowder and blood hitting me. I saw a mother, hair wild, cradling her dead son, a kid maybe 10, face dusty, eyes shut. I saw other kids running down a village road, laughing, then an explosion. They fell, blood pooling. I saw a pregnant woman, belly swollen, dead under debris, hands still on her stomach shielding a baby never born. I turned away, screaming, "Stop! I don't want to see this." But he said, "Look, Frank, this is hell, not underground, not eternal fire, but here made by men. Hate, envy, greed, that's what burns the world." I collapsed, hands on my head, tears hitting the unseen ground. "Why don't you stop it? You're God." He answered, "I gave men freedom, Frank. They choose war, not me. But the lucky ones, those content, those who love, they bring my light." I looked up, asked, "What can I do? I'm just a trucker." He said, "You'll see. Go back and remember." The darkness faded and I felt pulled. Not gentle, but hard, like someone yanking my collar. I don't remember how I got back. Just that being yanked from that darkness felt like someone grabbed my collar, dragged me through an invisible tunnel, and threw me back into my body. When I opened my eyes, I saw the stark white hospital ceiling, fluorescent light stabbing my eyes like needles, the steady bip-bip of a heart monitor ringing in my ears. I was on a bed, wired up, IV in my left arm, electrodes plastered to my chest, an oxygen mask pressing my nose, itching like hell, but I couldn't lift a hand to yank it off. The sharp smell of antiseptic hit me, mixed with dried sweat and blood, on my skin. I heard someone yell, "He's awake! Get Dr. Harris now!" I turned my head, slow because my neck felt like wood. A young nurse, blonde hair tied high, blue eyes wide with panic, stood beside me clutching a clipboard with shaky ants. I wanted to cuss, to ask where I was, but my mouth was dry as hell, tongue heavy like lead, only managing a raspy groan. Son of a bitch. The nurse looked at me, forced a smile. "You're okay, Mr. Sullivan. You crashed on I-94, heart stopped for over a minute, but we got you back." I shut my eyes, head spinning, not from pain, but from what I'd seen in that darkness weighing on me like a concrete block. I whispered, "A minute. How's that so long?" She thought I meant the crash, said, "Logging truck hit you. You were out cold. Lucky the paramedics got there fast." I didn't reply. Not about the wreck, but about dying, meeting him, seeing my life and that damn hell in Ukraine. Dr. Harris came in, a middle-aged guy, salt and pepper hair, white coat, voice deep like those NPR announcers I'd hear in the truck. He held a chart, eyeing me over silver-rimmed glasses. "Frank Sullivan, 58, I-94 crash. Heart stopped 1 minute 23 seconds, revived with defibrillator. Waking up's a miracle. Blood pressure crashed, blood loss, 2 cracked ribs, but no brain damage. How you feeling?" I glared, wanting to spill about God, the darkness, but growled. Like another truck hit me. He chuckled dryly. "Funny guy. Rest up, you're here a few days for observation." I nodded, staring at the ceiling, not tired, but knowing I wasn't the old Frank Sullivan anymore. They kept me 4 days. 4 days on a rock-hard bed, eating tasteless slop from plastic trays, listening to machines hum all night, watching nurses bustle like headless chickens. I didn't talk much, just answered the doc when he asked. Otherwise, lay there thinking of him, what he said. "Everyone's got a mission, Frank." I didn't get it. What mission for a 58-year-old trucker with a bad back, a drinking habit, and a life spent cussing? But every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. Me at 5 with that basketball. Linda smiling in her white dress. The Ukrainian mom cradling her dead kid. It stuck in my head, like diesel fumes on my jacket after 30 years driving. On day 4, they let me go. I shuffled out of Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, clutching my sore chest from the cracked ribs, wearing the torn Carhartt jacket the cops salvaged from the wreck. It was still cold, drizzling like the day I died. I took a cab back to Warren. Not because I wanted to, but my rig was scrap metal now and Great Lakes told me to take 2 months off to recover. I got home, opened the door to my dump. Stale beer and cig smoke hit me. The ripped armchair sat crooked in the living room, TV still on the news, now yapping about another Ukraine bombing. I shut it off, sank into the chair, hand trembling, as I grabbed a Budweiser on the table. But this time I didn't drink. I stared at it, set it down, muttered, "Don't need you anymore." I started changing, not big movie-style changes like quitting booze cold, joining a choir. Nah, I was still me, rough, grumpy, but I cussed less, snapped less, and did something I hadn't since Mom died. Prayed. I didn't know how. Mom taught me once, but I'd forgotten. I just sat there, in the dim room, staring out the grimy window saying, "God, if you're listening, I don't know what I can do. I can't save Ukraine, can't stop wars, but if you're there, tell me what's next." No voice answered, no light from the sky, but I felt something gentle like a breeze through my cab when I cracked the window on the highway. I dug through a drawer, found Mom's old Bible, black leather, edges yellowed, smelling of aged paper as I flipped it open. I read Psalm 23 like she used to. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me." I stopped, tears falling, not from sadness but realization that darkness when I died, he was there, didn't ditch me. I read on Matthew 5:9. "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." I thought of Ukraine, those mothers, those kids, wondered, how do I make peace when I'm just a trucker? No instant answer, but I started small. Every night I prayed, not kneeling fancy, but sitting in my armchair, Bible in hand, talking to him like an old buddy. I prayed for Ukraine, for those people I saw in the dark, for me. I cut back drinking, not quit, but from 5 beers a week to 1, then none. I called Linda, not to beg her back, but to say I'm sorry I was a bastard back then. She was shocked, voice shaky. "Frank, you okay?" I chuckled dryly. "Not really, but I'm trying." She didn't say much, but I heard her sigh. Relieved over the line, I knew I was small, too small to stop wars, change the world. But I remembered his words. "The lucky ones, those content who love, bring my light." I couldn't go to Ukraine, couldn't save those kids, but I could pray, could live different, even just a bit. I started writing these lines, not to publish, but to remember, to tell someone, maybe you, that I died, saw, and believed.